All right, first and foremost, it has been forever since I've done an oak leaf. But that's just what I scratched out right there with a pencil. Now, like I said a minute ago, that blade like you're using is flat like that. That is good for doing long, straight lines. Okay? When you want to do the curving, you have to hold it way back here like that. Can you see that even? Yeah. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit for you. But if you're going to do the curves, you got to hold it way back here, and it's hard to do that because if not, you see what I did there? How it kind of, oops, it came on top of that. It did that right there and kind of pushed it. So get away from a squared edge one like that. Now tomorrow, you can go to Tandy and get one of these right here, a ceramic blade. I love them. And I'm not sure if that's a filigree or what they call it, quite honestly, but it's, it'll do your straights good, but just like any blade, you got to have one of these right there on your table at all times. Piece of this white jeweler's rouge, and even that ceramic blade, you'll feel it catching. And by catching is what I'm seeing on your cuts, if that makes sense. Because your cuts are jagged, and that tells me that you're not using a sharp blade. So that's your key. That's what I see on what you just sent me. Now, with that blade being angled like that, you don't have to hold it so far back. Oops, I forgot I zoomed it. You don't have to hold it so far back to do that. And my rule of thumb is look where you're going and not look where you've been. So what I'm doing here is, there's my knife blade right there, and of course the lights are bad because I've got them all situated doing something different, but there's where that knife blade starts right there, but I'm looking about that much further. Can you see it? Nope, my hand's in the way. I'm looking about that much further ahead of where I'm actually at when you're following your line like that. See how each time I pick it up, and you don't necessarily have to get all the way to the previous line. You might want to leave a little bit of a gap there. And I like to make my turns this way because I can see right there like that. See how I was coming over here like this? Well, now I'm going to come over here like this. And you can keep going like that, or a lot of people will turn their work to finish that curve out like I just did. There's that. That. Now, I'm going to do the opposite of what I showed you just a minute ago, so you'll see the options. See, it's kind of hard to see where you're going, like I told you about a minute ago, when you're going like that. So you got to stop and pick up your work more often and turn it like that. And if you're doing a big saddle, well, you can't always turn. Now, and again, your moisture content of your leather is more important than anything. Right now, this piece of leather is too wet, but I just dipped it in a tub of water I've got. See all that right there? That's just me practicing. I bought a couple of different swivel knives. You don't need to go buy you know, $100 swivel knife to get the basics. You need to learn how to sharpen the ones you have, and then you can upgrade later, if that makes sense. The craft tool people, which is Tandy, make this thing right here that you put the blade into. There's a little set screw right there, and then you have to physically eyeball it to get it at the right angle. And then you set this, you know, tighten that up. And then, of course, you'll need a bigger piece than what I just showed you to do this number with it. Count 5, and then turn it 180 degrees and do 5 more. That's what I see, young man. I see you working with a dull blade, and now what? Oh, I put it up here already. I'll show you in a minute. Here's another one. It's a little bit wider blade, but it's got an angle to it. This is called hollow ground blade. Why they call it that is because it's concaved right there. And now see how I'm kind of sort of jerking? I don't know if you can see that on there or not. See how it's doing that jerk? Why is that? Well, because I didn't do this. And you'll do that several times. Each time, you know what I'm saying? You might get 3 or 4 minutes of carving done, and you'll catch your blade doing that. And then you're gonna wanna just come back and, now, I showed you this a minute ago, but with time, you'll learn that angle that you want, that 30 degrees. I think they say it's a 30-degree angle, maybe. I don't remember, but now see how much better it's doing now. I'm just doing cuts now. I'm not even trying to make a leaf. So that's what I saw. And then it also looks like you're using a big beveler in there, which is, you know, okay, I guess. But then try to find you what they call a undercutter, which is, if you're going to craft tool, it'll look like this. Basically, you'll use that with the little hammer for those inside of these curves like that, which of course the camera's in the wrong place. But what that does is it bevels it inside that curve and also gets up under it and picks that up, if that makes sense. Now that's not the one I use anymore. I went ahead and invested in some Barry Kings, but I'm not telling you to go invest in Barry Kings right now. I'm going to tell you to go get you a good blade. Just so you get an idea how crazy I am. I've got several different swivel knives. Most of these, not this one, not that one, but everything else on that row is craft tool. This one might not be craft tool. It looks a little different, but and I'll use them. They got different blades on them. So there you go. Somebody from Floresville is calling me. I don't know who it is.